Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching Where I Was Sim again. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over your threat for severe weather, and we're also going to be talking about some pretty big changes with the severe weather threat too as well. So definitely something to be aware about as we get into tomorrow, but we're still going to want to talk about it today. And by the way, we actually do have a marginal risk of severe weather today across places like almost Shreveport, but getting into like Little Rock, North Little Rock, getting into Fort Smith, Arkansas, North Little Rock, and then Jonesboro, Arkansas are included in this marginal risk of severe weather. I don't really expect much in the way of changes with this, but we could see a little bit of an extend with this marginal risk, so we'll have to watch that closely. But for the tornado threat, all areas less than 2%. For the wind threat, all areas less than 5%. But if we look at the hail threat, it sounds like we do have a threat for some hail across pretty much the entire marginal risk, so definitely watch this closely. Here's another thing to watch for though. As we get into tomorrow, we do have a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms and a slight risk too as well. So slight risk and a marginal risk for a few severe thunderstorms across places like Nashville, Jackson, Memphis, Little Rock, Greenville, Shreveport, Alexandria, again into Jackson, and then even a few other areas are definitely going to be included in this marginal risk. Even Jackson, Tennessee also included in this slight risk for severe weather. But if you're asking who's included in the marginal risk, well, there has actually been a change with the marginal risk. Okay, you might have been a little bit surprised about this, but instead of the marginal risk getting all the way down here in southern Kentucky, instead they extend the marginal risk up here into southern Indiana and even Louisville, Kentucky. So definitely something to start being aware about now. I just call it Louisville because that's how it's spelled, but people usually call it Louisville, so either way is probably fine, but I just like to call it Louisville because it makes more sense with how it's spelled. But anyway, we still need to be keeping our eye out for a few severe thunderstorms. This even includes Mobile, New Orleans, and even Houston, Texas. So definitely start being aware for severe thunderstorms if you do live in southern Indiana, because this has already increased the severe weather threat across that area. But definitely start being aware about it if you do live in those areas. But we're going to show you guys the excessive rainfall outlook. We just got 0% chance for flash flooding today, but with tomorrow's outlook, we do have a marginal risk for flash flooding throughout a pretty good big area, across a pretty big area. So this extends from New Orleans and then all the way up into Columbus, Ohio, for how it's really acting. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see that it extends back west, because I do think this slight risk does need to have a marginal risk for flash flooding, because it doesn't really make that much sense if this slight risk doesn't have a marginal risk for flash flooding, and I do want that to extend back out west into places like Little Rock, Arkansas. But we'll have to watch closely. It is something to be aware about anyway, but definitely something to be aware about. And if we zoom in, it sounds like this heads right past Evansville, which is where storms will develop. But we'll talk about that in a little while. But we're going to go ahead and show you guys the kind of predictions that are out. They look a little bit interesting, but for some reason, are you kidding me? The pre-volatile weather isn't showing anything for the 8 to 14 day outlook. But I actually did pull up the Climate Prediction Center outlook, the actual Climate Prediction Center outlook, and if you look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook, is actually showing a chance for above average temperatures for much of the United States. So just be aware of that. We can count that just for much of the United States, okay? But if we go back to the 6 to 10 day outlook, we are actually seeing a pretty good chance for above average temperatures across places like California, and then all the way into the Midwest, upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, and throughout the Ohio Valley. So all those areas are either near normal or either above average. Slightly below average is possible for the Carolinas, but it's pretty isolated, so definitely be aware of that if you do live in those areas in North Carolina and South Carolina. But with the precipitation outlook, guys, wow. Wow, are you kidding me? Because look at that, guys. Well below average precipitation across Michigan and Ohio. I mean, that does make sense because we are in an El Nino, but look down here, about 60 to 70% chance of below average precipitation, guys. That's pretty significant, okay? And it does make sense that we are seeing above down here to the south, but this should have included places like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia for it to really make more sense, and even include some of like Arizona and California. So if it would have included those areas, it would have been a little bit more typical. I don't know if this had to extend way far north, though, for the chance for above average precipitation, but we'll have to keep watching closely. But if we go back and take a look at the active advisory watch or National Weather Service hazards outlooks, we actually are seeing a special weather statement in effect for a pretty good area of Indiana. If we click on Indianapolis, we actually are seeing both a special weather statement and hazardous outlook, and if we read it, it says gusty winds today. Winds are expected to gust today and tonight to 25 to 35 miles per hour. This may result in unsecured outdoor objects being blown about. Secure any outdoor objects to provide them from being blown away or damaged. So what it's saying is that you should secure some of your objects so that way they don't blow away, and make sure you do secure the very light objects so that way they don't blow away. So that's what it's telling you to do, is secure lightweight objects to keep them from blowing away. And I mean, I experience those type of gusts all the time on my property and no damage at all happened. So I don't know if you would necessarily have to secure your objects, but secure them just in case, because some of those wind gusts could definitely gust up to 40. Maybe a wind advisory getting issued later today, but we'll still have to see about that. But I do actually want to show you guys another thing, and this is the hazardous outlook for places like southwest Indiana, western Kentucky, Missouri, and even southern Illinois. And if we look at that, we're going to take a look at that, and it says southwest winds may gust up to 30 miles per hour through today, and it says on day 2 to 7, Saturday through Thursday, it says thunderstorms may return, forecast late tonight through Sunday night, with locally heavy rain and lightning the main attack. I'm not really sure how to say that, guys, but I think it's the I do apologize for that, guys. I'm not like the best reader yet, but it says hazardous at this times. Stronger winds gusts may occur with convection, mainly near the Arkansas border and Tennessee border, Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. So we'll have to watch that closely, definitely. But I mean, I do apologize for that, guys. I'm still learning. I'm still young, so definitely you don't have to get mad at me for that. Because I mean, I am still learning, so that's why you didn't have to get mad at me for getting those words wrong. But we're gonna go ahead and look at the radar, and we're gonna go ahead and take this forward. And if we bring this back, actually forgot to bring it back all the way to beginning, as you can probably see, storms do start to develop in Missouri, and it starts heading northeast. Then we get more like a showery line of storms developing, and then more supercells start to pop up and more even start to pop up, then they continue to strengthen as they keep getting closer to the east coast. And what was interesting is that from a few people, I have heard that wind gusts could gust up to 60, 70, maybe a few 80-mile-per-hour winds over here out on the east coast. Places like Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, even down into Long Island, all those areas could experience up to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Some of those areas like Pittsburgh, New York could even see up to 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, guys. Isn't that just crazy, guys? That's going to be our wind event that's going to occur probably on Monday. Yeah, most likely Monday is when we're going to have to watch the closest. So be aware of that. Be on extremely high alert. Get prepared today because you don't want to miss out on getting prepared before these winds definitely get significant. So get prepared before they really get going and make sure to be aware of this. But I do want to show you guys the precipitation, and if we look at that, it sounds like with this line of storms going through, we will start to see some pretty good precipitation across the east coast of the United States. Places like the Panhandle, Texas, and Oklahoma gain some pretty good amounts. Northwest still some pretty good rain to come still, but even over here in the Ohio Valley, about an inch to about a quarter of an inch, maybe an inch to a quarter. We don't really know for sure, but quarter to an inch will be possible across the Ohio Valley, so definitely be aware of that, especially across Indiana. Anywhere from a quarter inch to a whole inch of rain will be possible, okay, with this line of storms that does develop. But even down here in Florida, we could even see some pretty good amounts too as well. And I didn't head all the way out. I only headed all the way to 183 hours, so definitely be aware of that. We're going to go ahead and start taking a look with the European model, where I want to see the difference between the GFS model and the European model. And with the European model, it is less aggressive on the panhandle of Texas, more aggressive farther down south in Texas, like central Texas. But with the European model over here on the east coast, maybe a little bit more aggressive in New England. Yeah, maybe a little bit more aggressive in New England, especially a little bit farther east. But we'll still watch closely on the DFS model. Did show lines, maybe a little bit less aggressive in some areas, but some areas maybe a little bit more aggressive. So it depends, but even back here through the Ohio Valley, it's showing a little bit less compared to the GFS model. The GFS model had that strip of an inch or two heading from Columbus all the way back down into Evansville, so not really there anymore with the European model. But down here in southern Florida, we are seeing a pretty good amount. Wow, actually, that could result in some flash flooding possibly, and I am heading only 100 or 240 hours out, which is going to go all the way till December 18th. So about 10 days out from now, which isn't that bad. So, I mean, we definitely could be talking about a pretty good flash flood event for southern Florida again. That could be historic. I don't know yet. We'll have to watch closely, but we don't really know how everything will exactly be playing out. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I do apologize for getting some of the words wrong on the weather alerts, but definitely still be aware of those if they are on your weather app or if they are on your phone. So definitely look at them and follow those rules if you do have those alerts, including the special weather statements. So make sure to do those, and we will do one tomorrow.